Hello traders, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be focusing on some few pairs. First, I'll start with the current pairs that I'm still holding, because there are a lot of pairs that did play out to a structure. So I'll start by showing you guys my active trades and the focus for the week, okay, which are quite few, which is USD CAD, Aussie CHF, Ethereum, and CAD JPY. Okay, so the top ones here is like how many? 6, 7. These 7 pairs I'm in them. I'm in active trade. Okay, so first let's start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, as we analyzed last week, I told you guys about this pattern, and we were waiting for that correction for the push the downside. We had a clear 3-touch pattern over here, 1, 2, 3, and we pushed the downside. Then we were waiting for this correction for a continuation to the downside, and that's what it gave us. So first I entered this trade with the first week over here. But this week, when you go to a 1-hour chart, this week was so long. I entered in this trade after this long week. I entered this trade over here, and when the price pushed down and formed this smaller correction, I decided to move my stops up to this level, because it had pushed up to these lows over here. But when price pushed back up again, it took me out on some small profit, and then I decided to enter again when I saw again another hammer over here, inverted hammer. So once I saw the inverted hammer plus momentum candle, which is this red candle, I re-entered again the market, and currently we are pushing down very nicely, though I'm sure we haven't formed the bigger correction of this break of this trend line, because we have just broken the trend line over here. As you can see, this was the bigger trend line, and we are still yet to see that big correction over here. So if we get this bigger correction, we'll again enter and take it to the downside. So that's why I've moved my stops up to this level, so that if the market decides to push up again for that correction, I'll close some good profits and then re-enter again once the correction has finished. Okay, so this one was a nice trade. I posted on my Telegram channel, so if you caught it, nice one. So next we are going to go through Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar, also this pair moved quite nicely. As you can see, we had this 3-touch pattern over here. We had this 1, 2. See this first touch over here, second touch, and the third touch quite nicely with the wick. So this one I entered after the first rejection on 1 hour. Once I saw the wick on the 4-hour, I entered after this momentum candle over here. So I decided to get in, jump in from this level, my stops just above, and the price pushed down quite aggressive. I could have added position after this small correction, but I didn't, because it was still close to my entry level and the price pushed down. So currently I'm seeing this forming a correction, which again I'll enter the market, because as you can see, there isn't clear correction for like the safe entry. I took a risk entry. This was a risk entry, but for a safe entry you'll just have to wait for that clear correction for you to take it to the downside. So this is what I'm seeing forming over here, of which I'll try to catch this trade on this point, so that we can take it to the downside, potentially to these lows and further to these lows. So we'll see what the market gives us, but this is a nice trade. I've secured some profits already. As you can see, my stops have been moved up to this correction over here. If it pushes up beyond this level, I'll be taken out, but I'm in like 140 pips, so those are nice profits. So I'm quite in a lot of trades actually, because the market has been moving nicely last week, so I'm hoping they will continue to flow. Kiwi dollar, as I said last week, guys, I expected dollar to pump on the upside. That's why I'm in these dollar trades. Okay, so Kiwi dollar, again, we had this 1, 2, 3 touch over here. We had this 1, 2, 3 touch over here, and again once we were at the top of the pattern, we formed another 1 to 3 touch. I was expecting this push down followed by a correction and continuation, but that did not happen because the price pushed up aggressively, again came back down and pushed up. So I came up with this 1 to 3 touch pattern, and once I saw the pattern and following the dollar pairs the way they were moving, all of them had these big red candles. So I entered, even this one entered with a risk entry over here, and the price pushed down aggressively. Okay, so currently I'm seeing correction forming, of which even this one, when the correction starts to form, I'll be taken out with the market, but with some good profit. As you can see, my stops is just low in the low here. But if this price forms this correction over here, I'll look to enter again to the market. So you need to pay attention on this pair, because the dollars have a lot of space to cover. Okay, this is going to be a nice trade. It can even push beyond this line, because it's yet to give us a big correction. As you can see, this pair can push up again, forming this bigger pattern for that push to the downside. So you need to be patient with this one. Because I'm seeing this week to be correction week. Yeah, I'm seeing lots of correction this week. So next, you're going to see, let's see USD ZAR. Also USD ZAR, we have been waiting for this pair for quite a while right now, but the market did not move the way we wanted it to move, because we were expecting this pair to give us a push, correction, continuation to the upside. But the way the market is moving is quite corrective. Even though it broke our trend line, but it broke it quite correctively. So we need to be careful with this pair. As you can see, the market has been just chopping around, so it might come back down and then push up. You never know. But don't underestimate this pair, because it moves a lot of pips. So if we manage to get, I entered this market in these levels, but as you can see, the price pushed up correctively and again came back down to that same area. So I'm looking to re-enter again this market if the price decides to push up again and for giving us that correction. I'll look to enter again in this market, because dollar pairs are moving quite nicely. So I want to take advantage of this if it moves up. Okay, I'll be very keen on this one. But remember guys, we are still having this pattern over here, which is giving us potential down move. This is a potential down move. So if this pair plays out, so we can like move our stops. When we enter this pair, let's say around these areas, we can move our stops to break even, because the way it's moving, it's so choppy, it can push again to the downside. So you need to be careful with this pair, or you can just ignore it and focus on other dollar pairs, because other dollar pairs are moving quite nicely than this one. Okay, next we have pound Swiss franc. Pound Swiss franc, I remember posting this on my Telegram channel just late on Friday. I remember posting this, and the pair just started playing out over here. I was expecting this pair to push up from here, giving us that correction, but as you can see, the price decided to push up quite correctively. This is so correctively, which was giving me a sign of continuing the downside. But the pair decided to push up aggressively. As you can see, the price pushed up aggressively with these big green candles over here and gave us continuation correction. So after this correction, I decided to enter the market on this third touch over here. This third touch for us to push the upside. So when the market reaches this level, is when I'll move my stops to break even. Okay, I'll move my stops to break even, so that I see what the market will give us next. But if it pushes beyond this level, give us another small correction, 15-minute chart correction probably, we'll look to add more position to this pair, because the room to the upside is quite big. You can see from the 4-hour, we're having this big pattern and this an expanding pattern. As you can see, this pattern is quite profitable. If we manage to push all the way to these levels, I'll be targeting this area, but overall target is on the trend line over here. Okay, so this one is a nice trade. If you're in this trade, let's just hold to it and see what the market will give us this coming week. But I'm expecting the push to the upside. Okay, we're seeing the push to the upside. So immediately we break this upper line, we move our stops to break even and we see how the market goes. Okay, this one was a nice one. Also, I posted this trade on GBP card. Currently we are on a negative, but as you can see, we had that 1 to 3 touch down here. We have been waiting for this pair for quite a while right now. As you can see, we have also this bigger pattern. Okay, from the daily chart, we have this bigger pattern. Okay, we have this first touch, second touch. We are waiting for that third touch somewhere around here. But what the market is giving us currently is like it wants to push up. So this one, it probably will be like a correction because of this huge sell. So once this correction is done, we'll be looking to take it to the downside. But we are taking advantage of this correction, which is going to the upside. So once we get this correction, when we finish, we can enter the sell trade again to potential these areas. Then we take those long buys to the upside, because this pair is quite productive, as you can see from the daily chart, and it can give us massive profits if it flows with our analysis. Okay, so from this pair, I'll be expecting not a push all the way to these levels, but this is just like a small correction according to the pattern. Like I'm seeing this one to be like a small correction. That's why we'll see my target is in these areas, because this is where it broke this area over here. So I'm seeing potential this area for a bounce to the downside again. But if it manages to pass this area, like pushes up aggressively, we'll be targeting even the upper line, so that, because we know the price still has to push down, because the larger structure hasn't finished yet. Okay, so we are taking advantage of this small structure, and currently we have entered this market after this small correction over here. It was a 15-minute correction, because as you can see, the market pushed up quite aggressively. Now is giving us this correction for continuation to the upside. So this one I sent this on Friday on the group, but again, you need to be careful with this one, because I'm seeing like a potential touches over here. You can see this is showing me a clue of this trade to sell to the downside. You can see 1, 2, 3 touch, so it might sell again to the downside before pushing up. So I gave out this pair because the pound pairs have kind of moved the same, and they are moving to the upside currently. So that's why I decided to give this pair, and also this pattern over here gave us a clue of this one is a correction for a continuation to the upside. So I'll be looking to get some good profits on this trade. Currently we're on a negative, as you can see, on a negative. I entered this trade after this huge rejection over here. There is quite a long rejection candle here, this hammer. So I entered immediately in this area, but you can see the price quickly reversed the downside, but currently playing around in our area. Okay, so I'll be looking to see what the market give us this coming week, but it looks solid to me, because the pattern we have been waiting for this pattern for quite a while right now, and hopefully it plays out so that we can catch these massive profits over here. Okay, this is like 300 pips, 321 actually, just up to this level, so it's quite nice. Yeah, and lastly, the trade that I'm in is US oil. This one I did not give on the free on my Telegram channel, but it gave us a good clean pattern. Okay, it gave us this 1, 2, 3 touch pattern. As you can see, this is a bigger correction for this down move. This is just a bigger correction for the continuation to the downside. So I'm looking to take advantage of this push, the last push, the upside. So once this push is done, I'll be looking again for the sell to the downside. Okay, so currently I just entered this trade the same time. I entered the same time with the GBP Swiss franc and GBP card. So I hopefully this price will push up. When it breaks this trend line of mine, I'll be moving my stops to break even. Okay, once I move stops to break even, I'll just let the market do its thing to see how it goes. But the pattern looks clean. The pattern looks so clean, so I'll be looking to see massive profits from this market. Okay, so the current other pairs that I'm still focusing on, I'm not active though, is this one, USD card. As you can see, USD card just pushed up aggressively. We had this pattern over here, 1, 2, 3 touch pattern over here. Okay, so currently I'm seeing this pushing, coming back down for like a correction for a continuation to the upside. So I'm looking to see when we get this correction over here, then we'll enter this market for that push to the upside. This pattern looks nice. Actually, my first target will be here, but my overall target is on the upper line around there. This is quite nice to hold for a swing because it's like 500 pips. As you can see currently, the way the price is moving is quite aggressive, is quite corrective. Okay, this price is quite corrective, and I'll be focusing on this pair for the coming week. As you can see right now, we're just expecting that small push to the downside, probably to these areas or down to these areas, then we push to the upside. Okay, because this big green candle need to be filled before we push to the upside. That's according to the smart money concept. If you know that strategy, I usually try to integrate that one in my Falcon strategy. But the price looks nice, and we'll be looking for some potential push to the upside. This one, when it's ready, I'll probably post it on Telegram. Okay, so be alert on that, because this one looks quite nice actually. Just waiting for that correction up to this area, potentially on Wednesday or Tuesday, potentially. So next we're going to Aussie Swiss franc. Aussie Swiss franc, again we had this good setup over here, an expanding pattern, and quite a nice expanding pattern over here. I did not enter with a risk entry over here because first I entered in this area, the price came back up to take me out for a break even and pushed up, forming these wicks to the top here, but I did not enter again. So what I'm waiting for is just a clear break of this trend line, a correction, and then push to the downside. So I'll be looking to take this correction over here to the downside, which this setup looks nice. My first target will be in these lows over here. That's where I'll be taking my profits. But if it breaks impulsively, I'll continue to hold to the downside. Okay, this is like 536 pips. This one looks so clean. Okay, so you need to wait for this correction over here. You can even cut the correction before even the break of that structure, because this correction will, before this correction forms, the price will have to move quite some pips over here, like 100 pips, before it starts forming that correction. So if you want to catch this trade way earlier than that, you can wait for a small correction, maybe from a 15-minute chart. You can wait for like that tight correction over here, then it drops, then gives us that bigger correction, then it drops again. So you can capture this trade even around these areas. You don't have to wait for this bigger one. Okay, you can cut this trade from here, then hold. When this correction appear, you can add position on this area, or you can close this trade here. Once you close this trade here, you wait for this pattern to play out, then you enter again from this level and target these lows over here. Okay, so this setup looks nice. And I'll be looking to focus on this one this week. Probably this one is from Monday. I'll be looking for that tight flag on a 15-minute chart in this area. When it breaks, I'll just put my sell order just below this trend line here, just to trigger me in when it breaks, because sometimes some pairs move a lot, forming very small corrections. If we wait for those bigger corrections, some pairs don't give us those small corrections, those big corrections, just give us small correction and continues to the downside. So I won't take that chance for this price to move without me. I'll just focus on this tight flag up here to catch this move to the downside. Okay, next I'm on Ethereum. Ethereum moves the same with Bitcoin, but as you can see, the Ethereum made extension. This pattern from our last analysis on this pair, this pattern was like this, but as you can see, the Ethereum made big expansion. Bitcoin did not make this expansion. That's why I liked that Bitcoin move, and I took the trade. But as you can see, this one moved quite a lot, and right now all I'm waiting for is that correction. As you can see, it has broken our trend line impulsively. So what I'm waiting for is just another push to the upside, and then we drop to the downside. So I'm looking to enter this trade. Probably I will enter again on Bitcoin, add position, because Bitcoin also is forming this correction. So once this plays, let's see, probably up to these lows down here, because I'm focusing on from the bigger pattern. You have this bigger pattern, just like the one Bitcoin has. You have this bigger pattern, of which I'm looking to see if we get this touch down here for another pump to the upside. Okay, so this one is just a short-term sell, because we know the crypto is about to go up. So once you get this tight flag over here from higher time frame, this is a tight flag. But when you go to lower time frame, this is it's a big correction. So I'll be looking to enter on this trade. Okay, be looking to enter on this trade up here. Potentially it's like 3 positions in this trade, because it looks nice. Once you get that tight flag, we push it, then we ride it to the downside. Okay, so this one you need to be careful with, because crypto move with a lot of pips. So you need to be careful with the way you do your risk management. Lastly, we have CAD JPY. JPY pairs we have been waiting for quite a while. Okay, we have been waiting for quite a while, and you can see CAD JPY, we have this expansion channel over here. We have this expansion channel, of which we have first touch, second touch, potential third touch up here. That's what I'm focusing on right now. And you can see from the inner pattern, we already touched our third touch over here, but I haven't entered the trade because I know the bigger pattern has not finished yet. So we might just trickle around here until we get that third touch, then we look for that move to the downside. So when we get this push, this correction after that pump, I'll be entering this trade. And JPY, actually JPY pairs, I've already said this, JPY pairs move the same. So once this plays out, once this one is ready, I'll focus on every JPY pair. I'll just focus on all of them. So some of them I'll enter with a risk entry, some of them I'll enter with safe entry, because since they move the same, if one goes wrong, all of them will go wrong. So you just need to play your cards right. And even you don't have even to bank on all yen pairs. You can just pick like top 3 or top 2 and trade on them, okay, because they have a lot of room to the downside. As you can see, this one, I'm just waiting for that push to the upside. Just break a little from this. As you can see, we have a key value area here, where people who trade support and resistance will be looking to see if it breaks. If it breaks, they will enter for buys. But as you can see from our pattern, as we are looking for sell. So once they get trapped with this pump to the upside, the market will push back down, give us that correction continuation to the downside. So we'll be looking to enter this trade, and this pair might move quite impulsive. So you need to be alert on it. It might give us just that tight flag and move fast to the downside. It won't give us that room for another entry. Okay, so you need to be alert on this one. It might move quite a lot, so be alert on this one, guys. And that's it for this week. As you can see, I have few pairs to focus on because I'm already in so many active trades, of which we had discussed earlier. Okay, so that's it, guys. Remember to like, share and subscribe, and see you on the next one. Okay.